Hello, I am Kendall C. Johnson, and thank you for tuning in to Becoming Women. The topic of today is how to become a boss entrepreneur. Have you ever asked yourself, if you didn't have to go to your job and you had the choice to do exactly what you wanted to do, have you ever asked yourself if you would really do it? Do you think you really have the guts to actually walk away from your full-time job and pursue your dream business or your dream, just pursue your dream life? Well, that brings me to my very special guest, Miss Shanae Hall.
Hi, Kendall.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
I wanted to bring you in today to just give us some details on how you became this boss entrepreneur, because I view you as a boss entrepreneur. I've watched you grow from working your full-time job to actually operating your business full-time, and you are a boss at what you do. I've watched you grow, and I'm just excited to see where you're going to excel from here. So if you will, kind of take us back to your childhood and tell us a little bit about your experience as growing up.
Sure. So my name is Shanae Hall, and I am owner of Party Life Productions, wedding and event planning company here in Orlando. And I started off, let's say, we'll take you all the way back, and I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. Born to two amazing parents. I am the oldest of three children, and I'm a part of a big family, extended family, and that means a lot because it has a lot to do with who I am and the way that I am and how I treat others, which has a lot to do with my success right now. So first of all, thank you for thinking of me that way, because I'm very hard on myself. So it's nice to hear. I'm still working on accepting compliments. So thank you.
You're welcome.
But so born and raised in Jacksonville, Florida, and my childhood was good. I have a story that I love to share. I can't wait to give that same experience to my children. I really enjoyed a lot of my childhood, and the things that I didn't enjoy as a child, when I thought life was absolutely horrible, they weren't horrible things that happened to me. I hated that I couldn't have 2 ear piercings. I hated, things that my parents just wouldn't go for.
Right,
When I think about like the worst days, it was if I couldn't go to I don't know, like the state fair after midnight. It was the midnight, stuff like that. When I think about like the worst things that my parents did to me, it was all cosmetic. But I was brought up in a Christian family and in the church, and I think all of those things had everything to do with where I'm at right now.
Right. So basically, you were kind of sheltered as a child.
I was sheltered, but I had young parents who were very aware of the world and did not try to keep me from having a good time. So although I couldn't go to Midnight Madness, I could still go until 11 and come home. So I knew friends that couldn't go at all. So it wasn't horrible. It just wasn't all the things that I thought I needed, but I didn't even need. I didn't miss anything. My parents' rules were, as long as you get good grades, then within reason was their major word, you can have it. And my parents gave me almost or everything that I needed and almost everything that I asked for.
So that's very inspiring in itself, as growing up, being a Black or African American family. First of all, you said parents. So that means you grew up with both parents. Absolutely. And they seemed like very structured, which is a great thing, which is why you grew up to be such a wonderful person. So what were maybe some challenges that you maybe faced during your childhood, maybe during school or?
So there were still challenges. My parents, again, like I said, my parents were young. So although I had both parents and they both wanted to be involved as much as possible, they worked. They were parents of a young family, and I was very responsible by force, older sister. So I took care of my siblings. They are very much feel like my children to me, especially now. But I'm 5 and 8 years older than them. So, it was important for me to take care of them. My dad worked around the clock. He was only off on Sundays. We went to church, we ate dinner, and then he still went to work after that. So there was still challenges, even though they were great and they were both there, even things that I had to go through that my siblings didn't. Because, that was 8 more years of grinding that my parents got to do by the time my brother was, in high school. He didn't have the same parents I did. They were different people. They were growing. They were, they were still young and getting things figured out and moving up and building and things like that. So, school was good. I always got good grades. Grades were super important in my house, but I was always expected to do well. So I wasn't very good at asking for help. If I needed a tutor, I would just wait and just fail because I was always good, supposed to be good, always smart, always, so no one ever expected me to have not turned in my homework or not done a book report. So when I didn't, I did it with a bang because I just didn't tell anybody. My parents didn't have to check up on me. So those kinds of things cause really big challenges that I hope that one day I can just teach someone from doing differently than how I handled when things didn't go
so well
the way they were supposed to go. I just kept it to myself. That was probably my biggest challenge, just because I was supposed to be good.
Got it. So basically, not doing good, you were very, very, very hard on yourself.
Very.
Got it. Okay, so going into young adulthood, what was maybe some challenges you faced, before you actually became Shanae Hall or Miss Party Life Pro? What were some challenges as to working a full-time job, being successful at your full-time job? What were some challenges you maybe faced?
So I was happy at a lot of jobs. I met a lot of great people in every position that I've been in, and I've always confused that with being happy in my job. I didn't want to leave or didn't want to move to a next step because I'm doing good here, people are good here, things are good here. I'm good at sales, and so stay where money is. So I just always had tough decisions on where to stay, how long to stay, what was actually good for me, not just good for the company. I've worked for a few privately owned companies, and my biggest mistake, I feel like, was doing what was best for them.
Got it.
I was always loyal to where I was, and I know put me behind in the end, being loyal to those companies.
So with working for companies, did you have a degree? Did you go to college?
I did. So I went to the University of Central Florida and graduated with my bachelor's in psychology. From there, I wanted to be, still very much so, one day would want to be a marriage and family therapist. I did begin the master's program for that, and that's kind of at the point where I realized it's not a right now for me. It's almost like later in life, how people kind of work for 30 years and then say, I always wanted to be an artist. To me, that's kind of how I feel about marriage and family therapists. It's not my right now, but I'm still very passionate about it. I still love that, but it's just not where things led me in the right now.
Got it. Okay, great. So working for corporate America for how many years?
So I actually started my first full-time job my senior year of college. So what would that be, about 2005 up until last year, so 2015. So I did corporate America for 10 years.
10 years. So what was your defining moment how did you make the decision to walk away from your job?
I did not make the decision to walk away from my job. I was.
And you guys, I actually witnessed this because Shanae is actually my client as well. And I think, was it the same day you had a hair appointment, or was it the very next day?
It was probably the next day. No, it was probably the same day.
Because I can remember you coming in and you was like...
It was really close.
Yes.
I think it was the next day. It was probably a Friday when I saw you.
Right.
Or something like that. But really close to when it happened. I was pushed out. I didn't have a choice in the matter at all. And I had to decide how I was going to deal with that. And at the time, how I was going to deal with that was just to find another job. I still wasn't looking to go full time.
Right. And I can remember different conversations that we would have when I would do your hair, and I just like, well, why don't you just pursue Party Life Pro full time? I can remember saying that.
And everybody else.
And because you were so great at it, and I was like, just do it. And I can remember when you were pushed out of your job, and you just kind of, it just happened. You just end up doing it full time. And so, how did you become the brand, the business brand that you are today? How did you become so popular, and how did your brand begin to grow?
So my brand is very, very personal. It's very much about me and who I am and what I like. My clients are people who I consider to be similar to me, maybe not totally, but in one way or another, we have something in common, which is why they're drawn to Party Life, because there's a million different wedding and event planning companies that you can go to. But I think because I put myself at the front of the company and my thoughts and my personal taste and keep everything so personal to me, it's helped me to grow and to connect with people. At least 90% of my business is referral based. So, and that's why I matter so much, because people are referring Shanae because of the relationship that they've had with me, how I've treated them, even if everything wasn't perfect. It's the way that I handle things, which is what makes someone refer them to Party Life. So I definitely think that has helped with my brand. My brand is about making the most out of the least possible. So, you know, by no means are we trying to do $1,000 wedding, but we can try to make, you know, a $15,000 wedding look like 20 or 25. So I'm all about stretching the same exact way I would stretch in my own personal closet or events, households. I'm doing all those same things for my clients.
Got it. And I know when I look at you, I see such a spirit of excellence all the way around the board, from, you know, the way you present yourself, the way you speak, the way that you take pride in how you handle your client, even when you are on the phone with maybe a cake company, or, you know, just people that actually support you and, you know, bring in the products that you need to make the weddings or the events look as elaborate as they do. I just see a spirit of excellence, and I'm so big on, you know, handling your business the right way, especially being African American, because we are known not to handle business with the spirit of excellence. And so, you know, your brand to me is that it's a spirit of excellence all the way around the board. And so I just want to tip my hat to you and just, you know, give
Thank
you.
And that it matters so much. It means so much to me. And it also goes back to why everything happens exactly when and how it's supposed to happen, and in God's timing. Because I feel like, you know, besides family and parents, and my dad is an entrepreneur and business owner, so this is, my grandmother was, but my first job out of college was with Enterprise Rent a Car, and it's a company that's joked about a lot as far as their management training program and things like that. It's a horrible job, but it's a wonderful job, because I was one of the people who actually matriculated the way you're supposed to and became a manager and all those things. And once you become a manager, if your clients are not 100% satisfied, then you don't get paid certain bonuses.
Wow.
It directly affects your account.
Right.
Directly. Enterprise teaches you how to run your branch like it's your own personal business. Of course, in 2006, I didn't know what that was preparing me for, but I promise you, every single day, or every single week, I am doing something that I learned through training and through everyday experiences at Enterprise. I know how to deal with people who are unhappy or uneasy before they get unhappy. I know how to tap in and to make sure that once something is resolved, that they're 100% satisfied. Then they're not just telling me, I'm okay. And that's important to get that out of people. And I could not do this without that job that I hated. I used to cry in my car.
Wow.
Like, I absolutely hated it. But I'm positive I wouldn't be where I am now if I didn't spend those couple of years hustling.
Wow.
At Enterprise, working 50 whatever hours a week for what seemed like $2 an hour.
Okay, so if you could give advice to someone who's afraid to step away from the comfort of their full-time job to launch out on a business endeavor, what would you say to them?
So I would definitely say, first, do it. But it does take planning. So even though I was pushed out of my job, I was not pushed out of my job in my first year with Party Life. It was still, going into my, 5th year of business. So I was not new to what I was doing. I don't think that this would have happened if I was pushed out of a job 3 years ago also. I was laid off. So that wasn't the time. So it's not always, do it regardless of what's going on in your life. I still needed to find a job 3 years ago. But at this time, I had done the work for 5 years now, and it was time. And I'd worked myself out of a job is kind of how I see it. I was really too busy to do my full-time job the way, that I could have been doing it. So I think that's one thing that gets really, really misconstrued in this world where everybody's pushing being your own boss, that you just can't forget that you still have to do the work. Like, you did the work. You have these pictures of these hairstyles that you're still like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. And makeup artists are looking at old faces, from years ago going, oh my God, look at me when I was just starting out. But so there's a start out phase, and I don't ever want anybody to think that I skipped that, because I did not.
Right.
At all. But I would say work towards it.
Right. Do the work. You have to do the work. And for those of you that may have a dream, or you may have a vision of being your own boss or being a business owner, I say go for it. Step out on faith. But it's not easy. I'll say that it's not easy being your own boss. You have responsibilities like, health insurance and...
Oh my gosh, it's hard.
Yes.
It's hard.
Yes. Yes.
Like, if I had to just sum it up in one word, no one told me I was going to have to be an accountant and just literally your own boss. What sounds cool, it's not really that cool. Sometimes I've joked with friends and said, I need a boss. I need a manager. I need somebody to help me figure out what I'm supposed to be doing every day, because sometimes it gets overwhelming because you're the employee and you're the boss and you're the handyman and the bus boy or whoever it is. You're playing all the roles, and there needs to be a boss. So that's why I say you have to do the work. In my case, doing the work was, I did this job for 5 years while doing a full-time job. So even though, like, when people say step out on faith, that doesn't mean without a full-time. I still feel like I was stepping out on faith even with a full-time job. Stepping out on faith was give up all your weekends and go to work on Monday and spend all your lunch breaks working and spend all your rides to work working and your ride home working. That was still stepping out on faith.
Got it. And as to someone like me, right now I'm a full-time hairstylist, but I have other dreams. I have other goals. This is actually one of them.
You to do hair. I just want you to be there. I don't want Kendall to get too great because then she'll leave us all.
Well,
you can be great,
right? Not really, but I have so many other things that I feel like God is really pushing me into. And I'm doing hair right now, so I can't just walk away from doing hair. For one, I think a person that may be thinking or dreaming about walking away, like you said, maybe start out doing it part-time, because my hair business, that's what pays my bills, that's what funds I Am Not My Circumstance, that's what funds the I Am Success Journal and things like that. I wouldn't be able to have money to do those other projects
without a job.
So you have to position yourself to be able to step out on faith as well. So I'm excited to see where Party Life is going. Hey, you guys, when I say a boss entrepreneur, you got so many people throwing around the word boss. But if my definition of a boss is someone who's handling their business in an excellent way, someone who doesn't have drama in their life, who doesn't, it's just not that boss that everybody's kind of throwing around. When I look at you, I see excellence. I see excellence. And so you're handling your business, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing without all the extraness. So that's my definition of a boss. And that's what this segment was about, how to become a boss entrepreneur. And so I'm coming out with a new line called Boss Women Wear Short Hair. So of course,
I would love to be your model.
Exactly. Exactly. So you guys,
keep you doing hair.
Miss Party Life Pro, she is the owner of Party Life Pro. How can people find you?
Sure. So Party Life Productions, we have an office in downtown Orlando. We are on Instagram at Party Life Pro, Pro. We are on Facebook at Party Life Productions, but you can also do facebook.com/PartyLifePro. And my name is Shanae Hall. We have a team here in Orlando and also in Jacksonville. So we work, Northeast Florida, Georgia area, as well as Central Florida and beyond. So we do weddings, birthdays, anniversaries, upscale baby showers, anything that you want to be just a nudge over the top. We try to provide a really memorable look without giving anything, just a pinch more, but not too much, so that it is definitely stand out and unique, and most importantly, within your budget.
Do you have a website?
I do. So our website is partylifepro.com. So basically, you can find us everywhere at Party Life Pro.
Awesome. So you guys, I saw her work. If you guys don't do anything else, go to her Instagram page and just look at some of the videos. What she does is absolutely amazing. And that brings us to the end of Becoming Women episode number 2, how to become a boss entrepreneur. So I am Kendall T. Johnson, and I want to thank you again for tuning in. We'll see you next Monday. Bye. Oh, now I gotta edit.